Welcome everyone to the 2025 room tour. Hello everyone, Punisher Knight here, and we are back with another room tour. A lot has updated in the last 2 years, so let's just jump into it. Going up the stairs, the right side hasn't changed actually very much. It's still all maps and mostly the same maps, so I don't really cover it too much. But the left side here is still the comic book section, but a lot has changed. I kind of divided it into two big rows. The bottom row here is DC. We got some artwork from the metal event. Metal/death metal, and then a good bit of McFarlane DC multiverse figures themed out around a few different main characters. And then of course above that we have the Marvel row. And I try to make it, the action figures kind of correlate with the posters that are around them. So we got our X-Men, we got our Doctor Strange, and just to throw this out here, filming on the stairs is very hard for me. I don't have the best equipment for it. I'll try to update that for next year. But the Spider-Man and Thor section, as well as the Captain America section, is definitely a little rough. But the rest of the footage should be pretty smooth. And of course, can't forget the Cap shield. And up here, I kind of made a diorama around the death metal event. And that whole series got me back into reading DC Comics after kind of stepping away from it from quite a few years. And then at the top of the stairs, you hook it around here, and here is my comic collection. It's nothing too crazy, but I have been collecting for about 20 years now, so there's a lot to it, even if there's nothing too crazy inside of it. And then this wall, each wall is themed differently, as you might know. This wall is the anime/manga wall. And this is the manga that I still, man, the camera is shaky here. I am sorry about that. But this is what manga I still have/collect. The only ongoing series I'm really buying right now is Chainsaw Man and Dragon Ball Super. But I have started getting solo leveling, so we'll see how that goes. But yep, here's a good, decent view at least of the map wall. And then over here we have our movies. I've kind of shown them a little bit more in depth before, so, and again, nothing crazy, it's just what movies I choose to have upstairs. And then we have action figures. On the top row we have my Spawn section, and then we have some of my favorite DC figures. And then we have some Marvel, some Hulk, some Avengers, some Marvel villains. And then at the bottom is just villains across multiple different comic lines. And then over here is the Gundam action figures on the top row. And then we have some Batverse figures right there. Some Ninja Turtles, some Marvel, some Evil Dead, and then some horror-based action figures. And if there's any section that you want to see more in depth, I was thinking about making some shorts, kind of going over different sections and showing like my favorite pieces from the sections. But over here is one of my main Gundam displays. We have most of the Universal Century and the spin-offs of that, as well as various other ones, but mostly try grouping all the Universal Century ones here. Then just beside that is my music section. Got that vertical record player, some death metal pops at the top, and some action figures that represent music. And then my kaiju section over there. And then this wall has just always been some of my favorite things, with Marvel and Shazam at the top. Some Dragon Ball, some more music, Star Wars. And then this is my little cityscape of Batman. Kind of went a little crazy getting the DC Multiverse figures a couple years back. Section over here is the Nintendo section, but before that, got some nerdy plushes. But the Amiibo wall hasn't really changed very much. I have got a couple more, like the Sora and Joker right there. But for those who haven't seen, just give a quick view of. And then my record collection. So that right there is like rock and classic. And there is my rap over there. So I kind of have 3 different like sections of it around my entertainment system. Again, nothing too crazy or rare, but just all the favorites. And then continuing the game section, this is all my various games. Right there we got Atari and some Nintendo handhelds. We got PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then right here is some Zelda stuff on top, followed by all my Nintendo console games in the background, and then in front of them is my Nintendo handheld consoles. So we got regular Nintendo and Game Boy, Super Nintendo and Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Color and N64, GameCube and GBA, a regular DS and Wii, 3DS, Wii U, and then the bottom is all Switch, and we got some 3DS XLs as well as a regular Switch Lite. Then we got our Sega section over here. Very much love the Sega section, but it hasn't got enough attention lately. And then of course we have our big old Xbox section, ranging from 360 to Xbox One. Got my newest 3D printer right beside my favorite Gundam section. So on the top we have Gundam Wing and Endless Waltz. And below that we have shared between Iron Blooded Orphans and Witch from Mercury. We got a Rex that I built, some Metal Gear stuff, followed by Power Ranger stuff, and some Pokemon. And that big old Onyx there was a 3D print. I thought it turned out really cool. And then we have the card section. So we got some binders up top. We got some ETBs with different years of cards below that for Magic as well as Pokemon. And then the rest of the anime wall. And then my old entertainment system with my PS2, my Wii, and my Dreamcast, as well as a VHS player. And all these boxes right here, each one represents a different console. and has all the accessories and remotes and things like that for it. And that's like my Justice League Dark section. That's a BMO stand I made for my Switch. This is kind of like all my tools that I use for my projects. And just a quick look at the rest of my desk area. Definitely not a minimalist, in case you can't tell. I try to use all the space I can to the best effect I can. And then there's some SH figure art, as well as some figures from the NECA line. And then that's my older 3D printer, still use both, and then just various 3D printing equipment. And then here we have some strategy guides as well as some tabletop RPG books. And then just a quick little spin around to show scale. And then a look going down the stairs. Well, that's it, everyone. I greatly appreciate everyone for stopping by and watching. For those who did stick around, I do have a couple of announcements. My merch store is finally active. I have a handful of things on there, and if there's anything else you'd like to see, let me know. And I am planning on attempting to stream again. Hope to see you all there. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a great one.